Okay, so I have everything. This is the matcha I'm using, and so until I use it all, this is like an old Costco one I got. But the matcha I want to use is this one. This is the one my cousin gave me, and I'm just using the other one until it's out, and then I'm gonna use this one because this one tastes better. It just looks a lot better. It smells a lot better too. But I'm using the other cheap bag for now. So basically what I'm doing, like to prepare, like to prep, is I put some hot water, like hot water. It should be hotter than this, but you want to make sure the bowl is like hot, not boiling. You want to make sure the water isn't boiling, but it's hot, like where you can see steam coming out. And then you want to soak the bamboo whisk in hot water to like spread out the sticks. And then I have the scale, because the scale is, you need the scale to like know how much matcha you're putting in and stuff. And then you need the sift, and then the spoon, and then I don't know what this is called. I don't even know what any of this is called. I just know I have it, and something to mix it with. Sweetener, I use blue agave, and then I use oat milk. But I think this has been soaking for enough. Just let everything soak for like 2 minutes, especially this, because then I didn't record when it was dry, but it's like spread out a little bit. The water needs to be a little bit hotter. You don't want the water to be boiling because it will clump up your matcha and like make it taste bitter. But I'm gonna let that soak for a little bit longer now. I'm letting the water boil. You'll know, like you'll start to hear it like make noise and stuff. So like 180 degrees Celsius or Fahrenheit is what they say is hot enough. So like almost boiling. So I think 170 something degrees Celsius is, or Fahrenheit is like 70 degrees Celsius. So like almost 3/4 of the way like boiling water, but not quite. So that's about right. And then I'm just gonna dump this water out because it's like a little bit colder now. I'll just do this for a bit actually. Just let that soak for like another minute, just to get it warm. Should be fine. Since it was just water, I can pour it back in there. And then now we can start making our matcha. So for like I think when I was seeing the picture yesterday, I was using a cup that was about this big, but it was like the round one, remember? It was like the gold around it. And for about that serving, you want to use 4 grams of matcha. And you can always add more milk and stuff if you want more. So it's 4 grams of matcha. And then I can send you over the ratios if you want. Yeah, I'll send you over the ratios as well. Because those are like important for making sure the flavor is right. So 4 grams. Wow, that was 4 grams on the dot. Okay. We're gonna move this. Okay. Then I'm just gonna push it through. Let's just make sure it doesn't like get clumped up and stuff. This part takes like a minute. I guess just depending on like how you do it. Sometimes I do that, and then sometimes I just do this, because then see how it comes out either way. You just don't want the clumps in there. I guess the way I'm doing it too, you don't need this because we're getting rid of the clumps the other way as well. but I like doing it either both ways. I want to start doing this just to get the rest of it. There we go. And that's still 4 grams. 4.4, that's fine. Then we're done with those. And then the first, we're gonna take our hot water. We're gonna add like 10 to 14 grams. I'm gonna do 14 grams. Oh shit. We start off at 23, so we have to go down to -9. Okay, so I messed up on that, but you're supposed to tear or zero the scale again, but I forgot to do that, so that's bad, but it's okay. So what we're doing with this is when we add a little bit of water first, we're just gonna get rid of the clumps and make a paste, but I added way too much water, so we're gonna do our best with it. It's not gonna be really pasty like it should be. It's supposed to be a lot thicker than this. I mean, I could low-key just restart, but you don't want to add this much water. So just remember, don't add this much water. Add a little bit less water. So like 12 grams of water first. But this is just because it's supposed to be a lot thicker than this. Just to get rid of like the clumps and stuff and get it mixed in. This is a little more like 16 grams of water that I accidentally added in. This is just like the initial mixing. But when you add the right amount of water, so like 12 grams-ish, 10 to like 13 or 14 grams, it will be really smooth and it will be really thick, and that's how you know you made the paste right. But this isn't too bad, it's just really runny, and that's okay. So now I'm actually gonna tear it, and I'm gonna add 40 grams of water instead of like 45 to 50 because I added too much water. Actually, yeah. So I got 40 grams of water, and then this is where you start whisking it and making the bubbles. So I'm just gonna get the water mixed in there with it for a couple seconds, and then this is when you start whisking in the W and making the bubbles. And like, yeah, you can see the bubbles like forming already. So you whisk pretty aggressively, and then in the W motion back and forth for like 30 seconds. And then I'm just gonna keep whisking for 30 seconds. Because we'll make the foam. Go about this speed. This is about the right speed. So now that you have your foam and then you see all the big bubbles, and then to get rid of that, we're gonna do the same thing, but not as aggressively. I think, yeah. But we're gonna do the same thing, but just on the top. So instead of putting our whisk all the way down and then whisking, I'm gonna do it just on the top. And then see how it gets rid of all the big bubbles and gives us like that little micro foam-ish. We still have to whisk in order to get it. Just on the top. This will take a second as well. Another 30 seconds. So it's giving us tiny little bubbles and getting rid of the big bubbles. That's what we want. Oh, I just realized I'm not sitting up straight, so the camera's pointing at it. So just whisking on the surface of it. In a W pattern, back and forth. It gets rid of all the big bubbles. Oh, there's a little big bubble right there. So get rid of all of it. We can get really close with that method and then see how it's nice and like foamy, but there's no big bubbles, or just like a couple. That's what we want, like that micro foam. And then when we're done with this, so we can set this aside, and we can get our milk and ice. Oh gosh. Okay, that's too much ice. Right now it's good now. Alright. So we can get our honestly, you want to add about 90 to 100 grams of milk, like 95 grams of milk for that amount of matcha. But recently I've kind of just wanted to have more drinks, so I've just been adding like 140, or just as much milk that I want. But you want to add, yeah, in between 90 and 100. So that's what it will look like with like that amount of ice. That amount of ice. But I want more matcha, or yeah. So I'm just gonna add like 180 grams of milk. And then sweetener for 90 grams of milk, and then that amount of matcha, 4 grams of powder, and then 50 grams or like 60 grams of water total. You want to add about like 6 to 10 grams of blue agave. But I added so much more milk, so I'm going to add like 12 grams. There we go. Then, to like some, I noticed that ever since I started making matcha with all these bamboo instruments, I started using bamboo chopstick to mix it up instead of like a spoon. Just seems more like appropriate for the like situation, I guess. You can use condensed milk too if you want your milk to be super sweet and creamy. But for this amount, I'd use like half of a teaspoon of condensed milk. My mom uses like a full teaspoon, but she drinks like a cup that big. So it's... Then just pour it over. Oh no, we lost some of our foam. It's okay. It's a little clumpy, but it's tiny little clumps, so you can't even see it. Okay. And that's it. That's the matcha. It's not bad. And sometimes people like to get performative and sprinkle matcha over the top after they after they mix it like this. But yeah, you can see there's still foam and stuff. That foam is what's really nice. That's why we whisk it with the bamboo whisk. To get that nice micro foam. Yeah, and that's it. Looks really good actually with that much milk. You can really taste the oat milk when you put a lot of milk though, but you can still taste the matcha. It's really good. But yeah.